660amtheanswer.com.
We return to Ladies Can We Talk with host Debbie Georgatos on 660 AM The Answer.
Hello there, and welcome back to Ladies Can We Talk. I'm so happy you've tuned in tonight, and we just have a really packed and great show lined up. And we have a guest on the line right now, a gentleman I've known for a few years here in the Dallas area. He's actually from Garland. Laurence Billy Jones, who goes by Billy. Hello, sir.
Hey, how are you, Debbie?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm so glad you were available to call in. You know, I did not get the chance I meant to in the previous segment to tell folks a little bit more about you, and I'm not going to read your entire bio out loud, but I do think I could if you'd like me to. No, but Billy and I actually served in one committee together for the Dallas County GOP, and then since then he's just his career has taken off. He's actually a contributor at Glenn Beck's Blaze TV. He appears regularly in the Dana Show, which has to be too much fun for words. Is that fun?
It is fun. I love what I do.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, I want to jump into it. Why I wanted to talk to you tonight. I really, I've been watching this whole, of course, because I do this talk show, I watch news incessantly, but watching this whole movement that I guess maybe rose out of Ferguson and other instances called Black Lives Matter, and which, of course, every life matters and Black Lives Matter, but
you would think.
Yeah, you would think, yeah. But I see some argument about how Black Lives Matter is at least partly funded by George Soros or bad guys. But even if that's true, I mean, there is a lot of racial tension in our society. So, I mean, you know, Billy, you've done consulting, you've helped candidates. So if you're a really smart GOP guy, how do you address a candidate? How do you address this?
So for me, Debbie, I don't know if you know this, but part of my job with the Blaze TV is to be an investigative reporter, be on the ground. So I've been to Ferguson, Baltimore, McKinney, with all these, public uprising, Black Lives Matter protesters. I was on the ground with them, getting in the dirt, trying to figure out what their concerns were. And part of the problem, Debbie, in my opinion, is the sense of hopelessness. I think this whole thing about the police, in the justice system, yes, there are legitimate concerns that need to happen in the criminal justice system. And there's a lot of Republicans and conservatives talking about it, me being one. But I think there's this sense of when you have a community that has double the unemployment rate, when you have community that doesn't have jobs, education is poor. And we have the Democratic Party who gets all their votes, but yet they aren't helping with the problem. And then you have conservatives that really don't go to the communities because guess what? They typically don't vote for them. And so what you're seeing is this uprising because you have a group of people that just aren't being looked after. They aren't necessarily concerns aren't being heard because of voting as well. So as a candidate, I've been telling people that you really got to inspire people. And although I'm not supporting any candidate, Trump has gotten the African American community to really get behind him. It's really amazing.
What has he said or done, in your view, that gets the African American community behind him?
You know, this whole notion of him being a job creator, that I'm rich, I know how to be successful, and I want to make everybody else rich. I mean, it's kind of like what the rappers do in the hip-hop industry. They speak this prosperity of, everybody can get money, and so it's been YouTube, there's been rap songs, there's 24 million views online, and it's amazing how the people are getting behind them.
Billy, we're losing you a little bit there. Okay, there you are back. Okay.
It's just amazing how they're getting behind him. I mean, it's simply because of his message of that I can make you successful. I can give you the opportunity to be successful. And it's something that other candidates aren't doing. And I really didn't think Trump would be the guy to do it. I mean, the guy's really not a politician or anything like that. But
to say the least.
Right. But his message of there's something better out there is resonating with people.
I completely agree with you. I've been done lots. I know you've done a lot of Fox News interviews too. I do Fox News radio interviews and been saying this. He just makes people think that America can work again. And also, it's a really interesting contrast because when Mitt Romney ran, his wealth was something that he kind of apologized for and hid and didn't want to talk about. And I think it made people more resentful because he wasn't taking that message like Trump is, saying, yeah, you too, let's all be rich.
Well, one thing I have been very vocal ever since I've been in. I've kind of distanced myself from the GOP, and I call myself a conservatarian because I'm just so fed up with politicians and all that, and so I'm just sick of government. But one thing that our side has been horrible at, horrific, is messaging. We have a great message, and we shouldn't compromise on it, but we do poorly at messaging it. And Mitt Romney was one of those. But Trump, and I keep telling people this, if you're gonna attack this man's personality, you're gonna lose. The guy has made millions off his personality. You're gonna have to attack him on policy. But his messaging, the way he is putting words together, just very simple. He's not saying anything extravagant. He's not using a big vocabulary. He used the same words, and it's working in different communities. And I've been telling conservatives this for a while, that people want to be inspired. They want an opportunity to succeed in America. And right now they're saying, look, Black Lives Matter is one of them. Even though I disagree with the whole, this uprising against police, but I understand the sense of hopelessness that is causing this public outcry.
I love what you're saying, and I want to ask you. I went a little long my first segment, and we probably should go to break pretty quickly. Could you hold on and come back one more segment because I want to talk? Oh, thank you so much. Okay, because I have so many more questions. This is Debbie Georgatos, and ladies, can we talk? We're talking to Laurence Billy Jones III, or Billy, who's just a great advocate and thoughtful guy. And we're going to zip off to our break, and after the break, we'll continue. I want to hit on the question of how Hillary responded to some Black Lives Matter protesters. And then I also want to let Billy tell you about a project he has, just a seedling project going on that is just so clever, I think. So this is Debbie Georgatos, Ladies Can We Talk, 660 AM The Answer. Come on back after our break. Hello there, welcome back. We're talking this evening with, I'm just going to say Billy Jones. I love saying your whole full name, plus because the initials are LBJ, it's really fun. But I'll just call you Billy. Okay. And I have a serious question now. But actually, something you said before the break, I was thinking about during the break. I've had that thought so often about how liberal big government policies have hurt the inner cities and our minority communities, but we on the Republican, and I have to say, I'm with you all the way. Sometimes I think the term conservative has been kind of tainted. I don't like to say Republican, but yeah, the messaging is so poor, and we spend too much time decrying the Democrats instead of speaking to the people directly about how we would love to lock arms and help lift you up.
You got it, Debbie. You're right there. I just spoke at an ASP conference this weekend in Ohio, and I was really telling them about so often we say what we're against. We never say what we're for. We don't tell people that there is a better way. We don't do a good job in showing people love and compassion and saying, although we may disagree on some issues, I guarantee you that this policy is what's best for you and your family. We don't do that. All we do is complain and moan about, the liberal media, or, the progressives are doing this, and the Democrats are doing this to this community, but we don't offer our solution.
Amen. Exactly. And I think part of what happens is, unfortunately, a lot of the consultant class on the conservative Republican side can't even think of a venue, can't think how to get started. So they just kind of go ahead.
No, exactly. They don't. They don't think of it. Like, for instance, you and I have talked about this, about me launching my tour at HBCUs, which are historical black colleges and universities. Now, it's not one of those gimmicks of, I'm trying to corral the black vote, or that's not what I'm doing. I'm not going to these communities for a specific purpose to, they got to vote Republican. No, I want to have a conversation and a dialogue to really understand what is the number one issue that they're facing in America, and then we can talk solutions. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to agree on every single issue, but I guarantee you that the majority of the issues, we're going to agree, because guess what? Everybody wants a job. Everybody wants their kid to have a better education. Nobody wants the government taking their property or anything. If we just stick to the basic issues that this country was founded on, we'll win, but we don't.
I love that. And actually, that was where I was going to head next. We talked about this, I think it might have been almost a whole year ago, but about historically black colleges and universities. When you told me about it, I thought, wow, that's just brilliant to try to go engage these young people who are, going to be out in the working world the next few years and talk to them about, what are their concerns, their fears, and how Republican or conservative answers will help them along their way. It's an uplifting. I thought it was brilliant. So where are you on that? Are you still planning stages, or?
So I've visited some of the colleges already, but we haven't officially launched the tour because the Black Lives Matter kind of hijacked the whole thing. And so I was focusing on really going to the communities and not just the colleges then. So you have all these shootings or, something that is happening in New York, Ferguson, Baltimore. So instead of doing the tour, I only got to do some of the colleges, and then I was actually on the ground talking to pastors, talking to community members on how we can focus on issues that have catapult this whole hopelessness. And so I plan on, at the beginning of the year, trying to really get everything together to actually do the tour. I'm praying that we come together as a country and that there is no more shootings, and that that young people will learn how to respect the police, and that the police will learn how to respect all people as well. And I believe that cops have a hard job today. I mean, I have law enforcement training. I was with DPD, and so I understand that. But I also understand the legitimate concerns of different community members as well. But they're fighting against, like, for instance, the Eric Garner case in New York. The guy was arrested for selling loose cigarettes. Now, what type of progressive law is that you can't even sell something that you already bought? You see what I'm saying? And so that progressive law led to this man's death. It wasn't the police. It was the law that a man can even be arrested over selling loose cigarettes. That's an overreach of government. And so you have people fighting against the police when they should be fighting against the government. And so that's what I'm trying to encourage people. Don't be so focused on the police. Focus on the policies that are affecting your community.
I love that. But on that, on the line of policies, I did want to switch and talk a little bit about how Hillary Clinton interacted with a protester on the subject of Black Lives Matter. And they had, I guess, a closed-door meeting, and then they eventually emerged. She gave a statement, or someone gave a statement about what they had said. And what she said, which I thought was, I really disagreed with, but maybe you'll have a different reaction. She said, look, I don't believe you change hearts, arguing that the movement can't change deep-seated racism. I believe you change laws, you change allocation of resources, you change the way systems operate. You're not going to change every heart. You're not.
Because government has worked so well before that they can fix this problem. I totally disagree, but especially me being a man of faith and a Christian. I believe that to end racism in America, that you have to change heart. A government can't make anybody stop being hateful. Now, I do agree that there are reforms that need to happen in the criminal justice system to affect all people, but it's not a matter of that the government needs to stop forcing people from being hateful. You have a right to be hateful. You have a right to be a Klansman or a Black Panther. You have a right to do that. That is freedom. And we can't rob people of the freedom to be hateful. But what we can do is that if there are legitimate concerns within the criminal justice system, that we need to make sure that the government doesn't have the reach to prosecute people for petty crimes, nonviolent offenses. Part of my problem with criminal justice reform is that the fact of the matter that we have people that are rapists that serve less time for people to have little ounces of weed. I think that's just fundamentally wrong. And so that's an issue within our criminal justice system.
I agree, and I'm glad that we had that conversation about Hillary's comment. One kind of reaction to his gut level reaction was when she says you can't change hearts. I just find that whole notion offensive, that she looks at all of America and thinks no one can progress, no one can learn better, no one can change. You can't change hearts, because I think what you're doing, a lot of your conversations, Billy, with people around America, you are embracing the idea that they can change their thoughts, they can change what their plans and ideas were, right?
That's it. I mean, like I said before, Debbie, she's sounding like a non-believer. Now, I'm not saying everybody has to be a Christian. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that I'm a Christian and that Hillary Clinton professes to be a Christian, and yet she says, I don't believe in changing hearts and minds. Then what faith are you practicing?
That's actually, we'll probably never know is exactly the answer to that, what she really thinks in her heart. Well, Billy, I just commend your work so much, and I love to talk with you as your project goes along on working in these traditionally black colleges and universities, because historically, I guess it's HBCU, historically black college and universities. I love the idea of getting into a place where young people, they're students, they're thinking, they're inspired, they want to start their life, and just having that a place where they hear, frankly, from someone like you, because you're really fun to talk to and you're energetic and you're thoughtful. I hope that you can really rock that next year.
Well, you know what, Debbie? I've been blessed. My mom had me at 16. And my dad married her. We had a tough life, but we were still able to make it because they taught us hard work and personal responsibility. And I believe that I can share that same message with them. I've had the lowest of the lowest. We've been poor than dirt. So I'm hopeful that we can change hearts and minds.
Okay, we're speaking tonight with Laurence Billy Jones III. Billy, and we are thank you so much for calling into the show, and thank you for your insights about everything we talked about. I really appreciate that, and I appreciate your work in trying to bring the conservatives. Really just, I've come around the show, I'll tell you, because I get tired of saying GOP or Republican. I disagree with them half the time. Conservative even gets captured. I just try to say pro-American. It's like pro-ideas America's supposed to be.
Yes, I totally agree, Debbie.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Great. Okay, well, thank you so much for calling in, and appreciate you so much, and we'll have you back soon. Billy, we'll talk to you next time.
Thanks, Debbie. Y'all take care.
Thank you. You know what? Our show is going to zip off to the next break, and so we can get our one little segment before the top of the hour. But we were speaking just a moment ago with Laurence Billy Jones, who is quite often on the Dana Show, the Dana Last Show on the Blaze. He's been on all sorts of Fox News radio shows, interviewed by all sorts of networks, and he works very hard to bring the conservative message to the African-American community. Plus, he's lots of fun to talk to. So appreciate that he called in. We're going to zip off to our break, and after our break, I have